We're live. Perfect. Okay. Just have to gather. Reference real quick. I just woke up, so that is why a little behind schedule. These work. This and go all the way down to arms. Hey, Sachil. Can you see this book? Or, oh no, that's, someone gave that to me. I don't remember who, when I was back in art school. Let me make sure you can hear me. Okay. Yes, all of that is good. Okay. Hey, 4. This is a book. I believe he's passed away at this point. His name's John Walkus, and somebody scanned his book. It was just like a very short 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 35. Less than 40 pages, and here you can see the front cover. John Walkus on anatomy, key muscles. He's very good at anatomy and designing anatomy and stuff. I have an art book here too. Alright, I was gonna figure out how to show it. I remember I did it before, but I'm afraid to do it now. Yeah, it was back in art school. Somebody gave it to me. I got a handful of stuff now that I don't have the books to, just from browsing on sites and stuff. Like there's this really cool one. I don't know if you know Yonayama Mai. She's a illustrator, animator. She's very big right now, specifically because she's been doing all these this tour because she's released her art book. And it wasn't just her, but her and some other artists did these books that were only on shoes. They were called Taro's Kicks, but like, good luck ever finding that book in the US. I don't think it even exists. I think it's only in like Japan and stuff. But someone scanned it all. Let me see if I just recently like saved all of it. I can show you one example. I just remember that she has stuff. Yone Yamamai, she has stuff in this book. The one that I really love is this one. So cool. These are relatively high res as well. So the focus is on shoes. So here's the shoe, right? And then they all make illustrations of characters with the shoes. Such great design. Yeah, it's literally just about shoes. This is from volume 2. Like they just drew shoes. See? And then here's another example I'll drop in. See? They draw an illustration of the character and then they show the shoes. It's very cool. And it definitely will come in handy when I start studying clothes. Oh, like they were on somebody's shoes. I don't know if she's ever done that. It's very cool. Anyways, we're not gonna definitely not gonna be able to draw anything as cool as that today, but you know. I think we can just copy paste this stuff. Can I copy? Copy with formatting, will let me paste? No. That's all right. Okay. All right. I want you all to see the book too, so I'm gonna figure out how to. Done. So does that? Oh, there we go. Oh, boop. Yes, that's good. Okay, and we'll use those other references in a bit. Don't forget to practice drawing belts and straps. You'd be surprised how common they are in character design. Yeah, no, that's true. Especially for anime characters, you have belts and straps on their legs and arms, and I saw one the other day with this female character design. She's got it coming down her neck and then supporting her boobs. So I was just like, oh, okay. Straps are everywhere. It's all Final Fantasy fault. Well, they made a good decision because it looks cool as hell. Okay. Reminding myself that I'm going to draw big and not super tiny. Oh, things will really just elevate the artwork if you pull it off good. Yeah, for sure. If it's just random buckles and stuff, it's not gonna look good. But it can definitely save a design and make it more interesting if you make sure it's still part of the design language you've designed. This might be not long enough. That is too far up. It's below that. Okay. Do you play any video games for? Also useful for drawing backpacks or horse gear, anything medieval fantasy. It's just leather straps. I will keep that in mind. Okay. Yeah. Usually mostly play Nintendo games as well as rhythm games. Oh, cool. I used to play a lot of DDR, and I have Beat Saber now with the VR. It's a lot of fun. And I like Nintendo games too. I have the Switch, although I have to be honest, I have not played the Switch in a while. Mostly because every single game they have to buy for them is $60. There's never like a sale. They're always full price. So I'm extremely selective when it comes to buying Nintendo games. Hi! Hello, my boy. Isn't 60 like a standard for new games nowadays? This 3DS era all games were rarely for $3. Yeah, it's 60. They're moving up to 70 now. But yeah, Nintendo is always like full priced. It's never, stuff never goes on sale. So even like, cause if you get a PC game, right, and you wait like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months on release, you might find it to be 15-20% off. You wait 6 to 8 months, might be 40% off. So there are sales, you know. Whatchamacallit, Nintendo doesn't do that. I mean, they have some sales, but they're very rare, and it's not that much percentage off. Whereas if you wait like a year or something, you know, I think after a while, The Witcher and all of its expansions were like $20 or less. Hey, that's incredible. Nintendo will never have a deal like that, ever. They'd rather you go broke. Half the canvas. Wait. What are you talking about? Oh shit. Sorry. Oop. Come on back. Window capture. There's no way for me to. It's irritating. Okay, hang on. Where I put it? Nope, it doesn't work either. I was drawing without it covering. Sorry. I wish there was a way to crop what I was seeing there. I guess I really do have to do that. It's weird that I still don't see the layers. Maybe it's just the nature of that was freaking weird. Oh, I see. Okay. Sorry, there's is he drawing? Yes, I am. Sorry. It's there's some things that are finicky about this I didn't know. New streamer problems. But you should be able to see it now. Apologies. Jay, do you translate the book or just copy the image for studying? Right now I'm just copying the images because I have an idea of what they're saying essentially. But like, for instance, this one right here. Can you see when I do that? Yes, you can. Okay. I'm not sure exactly what this is saying, because I know that the muscle does not just continue into the hand. But yeah, if we wanted to, we could just save out this image as a PDF and then, or excuse me, save out this one particular image from the PDF, and then Google Translate translates images, which I did not know until like a month ago. There have been times where I've stumbled upon translated versions of Japanese Korean tutorials. Some of the examples are supposed to be wrong. Oh, that would suck. Usually they have that big check mark or X. back to the beginning. Oh yeah, there are definitely times where I translate the text because I really want to know what they're saying and I'm not sure. But, you know, thankfully art is a somewhat universal language. You can kind of figure out what the heck they're talking about. Hey, Quacken. Sichil, what brush are you using right now? It's just like a standard round brush. Pretty much everything is turned off here. And then it's dropped down to 50% density, which is kind of like opacity. It works a little bit different. But basically it just means it's not gonna draw a super dark line unless I go over it a second time. The brushes and paint tool side, they're not that they're bad, but out of the box you probably want to change them. It's even worse with the old Loomis books. Oh damn. Well, I'm glad it's not that bad anymore. Yeah, I have actually, that might be a good idea. I do have the Loomis books too. Bum, 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 bum. And I know he did a section of arms. There it is. Yeah, we'll do this next actually. That way I can do the bones. Good idea for... I just wanted the separation of the muscles and I like how they colored it here. attempts to take care of myself. It's been difficult. Theon, I'm gonna join a draw with you too. Awesome. Have fun drawing. We're doing some arms today. Yeah, I'm realizing it'll be good to have Loomis's out. It's always good to have multiple reference sources, because not everyone's not going to touch on everything, and people do make mistakes. There's the hand arm. I'm gonna switch over to Loomis now that we've got a small idea. I hope you're doing okay, Quackin'. I know life, not just art can be tough sometimes, but life can be tough too. Sending a virtual hug. That's nice you feel. Quacking is good people. Plug in to each other. Human body is funky. Let's come back to helping others easy, helping yourself impossible. Like with the Architect a couple weeks back. Yeah, we can kind of be blind to our own problems. And then when realization hits you, it can be like being hit by a truck. I might have made this too big. Easier to give others advice when you don't share all the extra emotional baggage the person might have. Oh, that's a good observation. Why we can be somewhat ruthless with art critiques too. It's not yours, so, or when you're giving advice to somebody else, it's not yours, so there's less need to be precious with what you've already got. It's a little too thickums. Just kill that a little bit. It's gonna be the bumpy, a little bumpy bone. It's on their pinky side. Yeah. The internal condyle of the humerus, whatever the hell that means. You really don't need to know the names, just if you're curious. It might help with like memorization, but you know, at the end of the day, you have to know how to draw them. Okay. I would say that's pretty good. Although this fixed. Really think that be smaller. One thing that always gets super important as you get better and better is just literally subtle, the subtlest shit ever. It's like you start with you start by screwing up your proportions and stuff so bad, and then all of a sudden, you know, you might I just saw somebody send me something. Their head was really big and they're like trying to draw, I'm exaggerating, but they're trying to draw the rest of the figure, right? And the rest of the figure's proportions seem roughly okay, but the head is huge. Needed to be like here, right? And then the figure works. And once you do finally, like, that first big step in proportions where it doesn't look like complete garbage, that's when all of the subtle shifts start happening. So small little changes, like when you're drawing the, like if you draw the head really big, right, and you'll just have straight lines for the head. Once you start learning more about, you know, that there's a jaw here and it curves in a little bit before it can come out, and then you know that's going to happen on the other side. And it seems insane, like it doesn't seem like that much of a difference, but all these subtle shifts start to make a huge difference, because you can see more, right? And I'm in the era of subtlety, and everything just looks like slightly off to me, but because I'm drawing it poorly. So I have to be very, very cognizant of how I'm making everything, even the lines I make. Like, you'll start getting, you used to draw, like, you'll draw figures that have like really deep curves because they tell you to exaggerate your gestures, right? And so you know how to make these S curves that are huge and awesome, but then now you need to differentiate between like a straight line and this line that's like ever so not straight, and then one that just like is not straight and curves subtly, and then one that curves just at the top and then comes down. All those subtleties start to matter super much. And that's just as you get better and better, that's what you have to do. The subtle details, they mean so much. I are fantastic. Nice to meet you. Hope Indonesia is treating you well. Hey, Mr. Fahrenheit, how's it going? Finally got semester break. Came back to drawing. What were you studying during your semester of school? Might help with recall to have a name attached to a part. That's one hell of a good set of bones. Thanks for. Yeah, having names can sometimes help with the recall. Again, I think we have to know it visually, so it um, the names can help, but ultimately, like, we gotta know what this looks like from multiple different angles. And honestly, I don't necessarily know all the names of all the anatomy. I don't think it really holds you back because it's a different kind of it certainly won't hurt. Like, obviously, the more information you have, the more connections you can make in your brain. That's a good thing. I want to draw this line to understand. Just real quick. No, yeah, I'll try it. I feel like that's supposed to rest right up against the bone, so I feel like this is incorrect. I'm not gonna do this. Okay. This is why I say to draw from multiple sources. Alright. Hey Ryozaki, how's it going? Information technology specialized in cybersecurity. Wow, that is it sounds complex. It sounds like it would probably be well paid position though once you're done. All right. What is like a basic? Give me one sec. I'm thinking about so I'm thinking about the basic shape. Like, it's hard if you're just trying to, like, when we draw the figure, we draw a bunch of basic shapes, right? So I'm thinking about what my, aside from like the tube man that you draw when you're trying to learn arms for the first time, like, I don't want to draw this specifically. I want a more refined version of that to simplify the arm. So I'm just looking at some reference real quick. Okay. So, because you can always fix stuff after. further down. I don't particularly like the way that Andrew Loomis designs the shoulders anyways. And the names of the average muscle groups are useful, especially for cases like getting into animal anatomy. We do the same muscle groups on most mammals, the same things. Yeah, no, that is true. Once you start getting into animals, you realize how all of our parts are kind of the same. They can just be kind of arranged differently. So I do definitely agree with that. Like I said, it doesn't hurt. I think you could get by like MB. There's certain things like I think like the skeleton, for instance. You could get by without the skeleton and not learning it very well and still become a very good artist, but it would be hard to become a master artist, I guess, without knowledge of the skeleton, because there's, you know, the structure underneath is still really important. But you could still get really good. But in order to get that like master level ability and be super flexible, I think would require knowledge of the skeleton. Whereas something like knowing the names of the anatomy, it will help you. I don't think it will hold you back from being a master at being an artist. It will help, but I don't think it'll hold you back in any kind of important way. Because, you know, we're trying to remember things. My mom is calling me. We're trying to remember things visually. And again, that'll help with recall, like Quacken said, and helping you store that information. So there's definitely absolutely nothing wrong with it. And yes, Quacken, the most masterful parts are always in the subtleties. That is true. That's why when we do, like, I study, it took me a while to understand, like, when I study other artists, oh, that is not what's happening. That's the second one over. When I was studying artists, like, why my stuff wouldn't come out as good as theirs. And sometimes you don't even have the eye to see how far or how different yours is from theirs, because it's all in the subtleties. They're accomplishing things that you don't notice. See you later, Fahrenheit. Thank you for dropping by. Man, I get a lot of you guys where it's really late at night, huh? From Europe. Is there anybody whose this is their morning? There's a snowstorm all over Sweden? Oh dang. Stay safe for. Hi Anjali. Hi Scribble Mouse. South Asia, okay. But you said, were you Mr. Frano? You said you were Indonesia, or was that somebody else? That was somebody else. South Asia, okay. And everybody's. I'm in the UK. It just turned dark in the last hour. Everybody's going to bed soon. This is my morning. I just woke up before the stream. I'm in California. Okay. Got a little too long. Oh. You're from Portugal, Ryuzaki. Oh, wow. You get less and less snow each year, so whenever I get snow, I treasure it as much as I can. Do you go skiing or anything for? Or snowboarding? I can ski. I don't really know how to snowboard. Tricep on either side. Pronator. Supinator. Extensor. So many interesting muscles. Just love snow in general. It can create such beautiful landscapes, perfect for color theory practice. Yeah, no, that's true. Snow can be really interesting to study. One of my favorite paintings has like all these blues in the snow that I just wouldn't have expected. I wonder if I can. Coming up to our break here, maybe I can show. Okay, I have it in here somewhere. Actually, don't know who this is by. It's really pretty though. Oh, it says it in the file name, Noxipia. Such pretty snow. There's hardly any white being used. But still very, very beautiful. Okay. Gonna pause for a minute. Our lovely break time. Snow, just crystals will be so colorful in different light settings. And the landscape covered in a thick snow blanket makes it easy to paint due to less details to add. Yeah, it's just about making really beautiful brush strokes and using the right colors. So I can imagine you can use very big brush strokes for that. I haven't done too many landscapes. We'll definitely get there though, but snow would be fun. If you haven't been here before, we do the healthy creative process. I stand up for about 10 minutes every hour. Gotta move around so your legs don't solidify. Because I'm gonna do this for a long time and, you know, not pass out or be very unhealthy. Miyazaki arm study. I've been putting that on standby for too long. Yeah, I know, me too. Really need to get used to drawing arms. I'm just trying to use this project as an opportunity to learn more about anatomy. Like, I barely got ever really focused on the legs and understanding the anatomy that goes on down there. It's a lot of information to organize. It seems really simple, but I feel like it's kind of deceptive. Like, you can just look at that diagram of an arm. Like, there's a lot of pieces. That's why I was trying to look at the book, that other book, because it's colored the sections. There's a couple books that do that. So it helps you kind of compartmentalize the different parts of the arm. I remember studying it back in school. It's like the forearm has like supinators and extensors, and it's split into two groups. And you have the bicep and tricep on the upper part of the arm, and then the shoulder. So I think it was split into like 5 groups, muscle groups. But there's actually a lot more detail there, especially if you're drawing like super muscly characters. You're gonna want to know those groups pretty well and how they look when you're flexing them and released when they're released and relaxed. So deceptively simple, but there's a lot of information there. You're not supposed to sit 10 hours straight. No, Quacker. That usually ends up happening when I'm playing games or something. I don't realize how much time has passed, which is a bad thing. I try to set a timer sometimes, but I also don't want to be like disturbed in the middle of like a really great scene or something, so it's hard to just remind yourself. It is cold, guys. It's cold. I need a hoodie. Oh. Yeah, I don't do landscapes, environments, but I really enjoy painting ocean waves, still ponds, snowscapes, etc. Simple stuff. That's really cool. I've had very little experience painting any of those or drawing any of those. When I first started, I think it was like one of the first art classes that I took. It was some sort of like outdoor. I lived in Maine, so it was like an outdoor naturey class, and I spent time drawing like trees and environments outside, like little rivers and stuff, some plants, and that organic material is super duper hard. It wasn't until I think I got to BizCom where they explained how you could like break things down into basic shapes and then add detail, layer detail on top, where it started to make more sense to me. I haven't tried plants in a long time, but I'm definitely gonna have to get there. I really love paintings that do a really good flower, like roses and stuff. People who can paint petals and everything, because there's so much. Designing a flower is so cool, especially like roses, because there's so much variation between your edges. Like there's these really crisp edges and soft ones, and so it looks, roses especially can look really beautiful. Flowers just in general, I think, can look really beautiful. But the treatment of it as you're painting can be really, really cool, because there's lots of like quick transitions between hard cast shadows and soft, and then missing edges. It's great. Roses are so hard, I turned them into cabbages. I mean, I guess a cabbage is sort of the same thing. It doesn't have that like bloom, right? But that's funny. Reminds me of high school art class where they just told us to go outside and draw the environment. It was in an industrial area. Oh yeah. I mean, I suppose there's people who enjoy that as well. Like, I like seeing really intricate like towers that have a lot of steel beams going across. People who can draw those are crazy, right? It looks so hard. I'm sure there's like a way of simplifying it, like we're talking about with the nature, and then layering on detail. But it looks so complicated. Like when you look at really intricate bridges, and they just got beams going across like this all over the place, or like antenna type towers and stuff. There's like a million beams around there. People who draw those in intricate detail are incredible. And probably drew cool stuff from that. That was the last thing I cared about during my manga phase. Yeah, those background artists to manga artists are pretty incredible. You gotta get good at that stuff too. There was some stuff I remember that I've drawn that I studied. Nothing I've drawn from like imagination or on my own, but it always seemed so daunting till you start to do it, and step by step you start getting more and more of it. It's kind of cool. it sucks that like every time you start though, even if it's something daunting, you can't like remind yourself and like, hey, I've done this before. It's like, no, this is still scary. Uh, so it's always a challenge when you go into it. I feel like you have to draw hundreds of them for it to not be scary anymore. I don't know if there's anything even now that I'm so comfortable with that I just like, it's not scary at all, you know? Things have become less scary, like the figure, but still always scary. Sorry, apologize. I'm still tired. Zachary, what book are you looking at for this? Looks useful. This is Loomis figure drawing. The other, I think it's a Chinese book. It's called, I have no idea. You can translate that, you'll know. Someone in my chat, I swear, looked the book up by the ISBN number, because I think I found that. Oh, it's Korean. It's Korean, my bad. I do not know the difference between the symbols. I'm sure I can find it again, Zach. Really gonna release like a list of anatomy books or something that people can study from. People are always looking for other resources. Easiest way to tell it's Korean is the symbols have round circles. You don't see that in Chinese or Japanese. Oh, good to know, actually. Thank you for. I really want to learn Japanese. I have like a Japanese book, and at one point I had memorized hiragana, but it's a huge undertaking, obviously, and I'm already trying to do like a million other things. So, Shannon, are you using an iPad? I'm just using the iPad to look at comments off to the side because otherwise my whole screen is filled. I've used the iPad to draw and stuff. I have Procreate, and it's really awesome. But no, right now we're using Paint Tool Sci, which is definitely looking like one of my favorites to draw and paint with, because I don't know, I've tried to go back to the old other programs like Photoshop and Clip Studio and stuff, and they're kind of like bloated software. Like stuff when I'm trying to draw starts chugging, and I have a nice computer. Like I saved up and put together a really good computer. There's no reason, it's literally just the program. There's no reason why anything should be running slow. So I think there's a lot of bloated junk in those programs, and they're not optimized as well as they should be. But Paint Tool Sci has been like a dream. I've literally never seen it chug or struggle with anything. Scribbleouts, name of the book is in the comments in one of the earlier streams. I forgot it too. I know. I actually like removed it because we were able to find it. I removed it from my favorites, otherwise I'd bring it right up. Again, I'll make a list and like post it somewhere so people will have it. Okay, it does show the back of the arm here. Photoshop is definitely bloatware. Clip Studio can be optimized in the settings, but it's getting heavier recently. You found your main? Yeah, well, I definitely have. Yeah, Clip Studio is definitely not as bad. Photoshop has gotten worse because I've been away from it for the longest, and I tried it again recently and I was like, I don't like this. This is bad. it sucks that it's the like standard in our industry, especially with the increased prices. My God, it's like I had to. Although I did find a trick, which if anybody here needs Photoshop for work, hopefully they won't find me for this, but find me, not find me. You can, if you go search for student price for Adobe on Reddit, you'll know what I'm talking about. But basically I just said I was a student, which technically I am, just because I'm not going to school doesn't mean I shouldn't be able to take advantage of that. But if you go to the student price, the Adobe subscription, it's like a gajillion times cheaper. It went from $650 a year to $250. And I'm broke, so I don't have $650 to spend on an Adobe subscription, especially when you need it for work. Some ridiculous nonsense. And I know that you can, I think there's, is it the Affinity suite that you could use as like an alternative, but it's, unfortunately, it's just not the industry standard. They have a monopoly on design tools. Sucks. Like, I'm trying to learn After Effects right now, and I was like, is there a way that I could potentially just get away from Adobe? But there's not, because it's pretty much what everybody uses. Be affecting. Oh, so you're rotating the whole. Sorry, I'm trying to move my arm. I was like, why is the shoulder moving? You're literally just flipping over your hand, but they're moving out the shoulder. So not just the forearm, it's a whole like shoulder roll, which is what he's doing here. So that is why the shoulder moved as well. I can remember hours of the After Effects I hated so much. Why? Oh, hi, JQ. Sorry I missed your hello. How's it going? Zachary, how do you get the PDF copies? I found, for the Korean book, I found it online, and you can save a web page as a PDF. I could not find that one as an actual PDF, so that's why it kind of looks all broken. The Loomis ones, for a while, the Loomis books were out of copyright or something, and people were like, you could find them anywhere. People were sharing scans of the books, and I think now they sell them again, so it's a little bit harder. I'm sure if you looked up Andrew Loomis figure drawing, you could, and then search PDF, you could find it. I have a lot of books as images or PDFs, and I also own some of the books that I have as PDFs. It's just easier to have it on your screen rather than like a book off to your side, when I'm doing like digital art, and it's nice to have it when I'm doing traditional as books. So yeah, if you just search the book and then PDF, typically you can find a lot of things. I'm very persistent when I want these books, so I try to hunt them down, you know. X's, and you're kind of that. It should be a window. So we have the bicep tucks into the shoulder. Krita and Gimp are also free. Krita is free? I didn't know that. I remember, was it Craig Mullins was talking about Krita like it was a godsend. Ooh. Should I have made that a little too tiny? Okay, there we go. Oh, that's not gonna look like that once. It's a little deceptive. I guess that's the tricep. It tucks in. It is. Krita is great. Zephyr figured out my problem today, applied Marshall's whiteboard method on my goals, and finally found out what I needed to work on. Goals-wise, I believe. Oh, it's good. Bet. Wait, what is free on Steam? Krita? I'm so confused. I mean, you can get Paint Tool Sci free for 30 days. After that, technically you can still use it. You just can't save after 30 days any of your work. And it's only like 30 something dollars. 35, I think it was. I don't know anything about Krita yet, or Metabang, but in my opinion, 30-day free trial plus only being $35 and being super simple to get into, this is probably the best that you can get. But again, I haven't tried those other ones, so. I'm not exactly sure. Pretty decent. One more time. You guys draw on Steam? That's crazy. I didn't even know there was anything that you could buy to draw on Steam. Do you have a Steam Deck, Quacken? This is facing completely forward. I do not know. Yeah, no, I don't have a Steam Deck either. I have Steam. And probably way too many games. Buying art software via Steam feels like one of the hardware store to buy tomatoes. Yeah, probably a little bit. I mean, if the Steam Deck was like an iPad, I just feel like I've seen people draw on their phone. I'm just like, I get it if that's all you have. That's tough, but I would rather have a sketchbook if I had to draw on my phone. And that's relatively inexpensive to get, like a cheap sketchbook and a pencil. you know, versus a phone, which could be like $1,000 or something. I don't remember how much the phone was, but those are expensive. And it'd just be so tiny to draw on. Like, you're never gonna get used to using your shoulder and stuff. But if you're really excited to draw on Steam, like, more power to you, I guess. Just, I definitely don't think that'd be something I would want to do. Just mentioned that drawing apps are available on Steam. Yeah. If you're making 2D assets for a game, modeling, for instance, and it really doesn't matter how it's done as long as it gets done and exported. True. I mean, again, I have seen professional artists use their phone. I think I remember a tweet once from Jim Lee, does all the like Batman stuff. Pretty famous for doing lots of Batman stuff. And he had drawn on his phone during like a plane ride, like a flight that he had. I would totally get that, using that on your phone while you're on a plane. Like, you got the time, don't want to bring a giant iPad or something, or you just don't have an iPad. Like, it makes sense if you wanted to load your games up on Steam for your flight, and then you also had a drawing program on there. That would be quite handy. That's probably why I think there's like some drawing stuff on the Switch too, right? Because that's probably how people use their Switch. Because I that's like one of the few times I play my Switch now. It's like on a plane. Seen people make great art on their phones. Personally, would disintegrate from hand cramps. Just um, I'm probably used to it, like drawing smaller on this tablet. That doesn't freak me out really. That is tricky. I don't want it to look like a bloated arm. Why does it look like that? JQ, when drawing as a beginner artist, are you expected to draw fast or move quickly? Not sure, just because it feels hard to draw faster. No, you're not expected to draw at any speed. Uh, that would be kind of insane to expect you to draw really fast or something. You just get faster as you do it and as your knowledge increases, and then you'll learn, you know, more. I think we've talked about this before. You'll learn more stuff and then you'll kind of slow down again because you're not as familiar with it, and then you'll get familiar with it and you'll start getting fast again, and then you'll learn more new stuff, and slow down again. So it's just like this endless process of speeding up and slowing down. uh, you shouldn't worry about your speed necessarily. um, The only time I would ever even consider worrying about that is like if I had a job in the industry, because they're, you know, you can take your time still with stuff that you need to take your time with, but uh, you know, you can't fuss around with a piece all day that was supposed to take you like a few hours to show the art director or something. So you have to know eventually how long certain things take. And that's just something you'll learn with experience. So I really would not be paying any attention to how long things take you. Not for a while. You'll understand that in time. Drawing at 150 miles per hour. Be mindful of going too fast when drawing it because it could be a wrong tempo for you. Cynics made a video about tempo a while back. Great video, have to say. I never saw that, but be sure to check it out. There it is. Yeah, you definitely want to make sure you're not drawing too fast. That would be detrimental to your progress. If you're trying to get everything down and you're kind of rushing it, that's not going to help you. I think I used to do that actually just because, and I probably still do it now on occasion, because you kind of get, you can get nervous like as you're doing this stuff and you're like, oh, I just gotta get this down. And you have to remind yourself to like slow down, take a breath. It's like this artificial feeling that you need to like rush. So if that's why you're feeling that, and you feel like you had to ask that question, it's probably just like this artificial need to feel like you gotta finish it fast. But you don't. Yeah, it's definitely a recurring issue when we plan things out pre-production to guesstimate how much time it'll take to finish assets, to shorten or extend those during production. Yeah, I mean, everybody sort of gets an understanding of how long it takes them to do things after a while, especially if you're working on like a team and everything. Of course, there are exceptions, like you might get stuck on something that you didn't expect to get stuck on. And that will take you longer. You have to make sure you don't rush those things because then you'll be, you know, screwing things up and fixing mistake over mistake. You gotta take your time. My teacher always, or he would tell us a story because speed does come up as a question. He would tell us a story of the fastest artist that he knew would be considered probably slow to some people because I honestly think he was talking about somebody like Kim Jong-gi, but they know exactly where to place their lines, but they take their time, right? Like he knows where he's gonna be putting each of these little details. He doesn't go back in and be like, or start all scribbly with his lines and being like this and everything. Everything is carefully thought out, and it seems slow, but he doesn't have to go and fix any of his mistakes. So speed can mean different things, and depending on what kind of production you're doing too, like Four was saying, sometimes they need a quick sketch and they don't want you to be neat and you need to know how to like dump out a composition and, you know, be all quick. Not that you have to be this fast, but you got to be able to drop that comp and then start filling in value and stuff, and have like multiple compositions in a couple hours or something. So sometimes people need things fast, so you need to know how to paint and or draw things with speed. Right now I'm trying to draw a table of simple shapes and 3 different lens types, and it's taking me way too long even though I can usually draw a shape in 2 minutes. It's okay that things take you a long time. That's one big mistake I see beginner artists make, because they do a lot of those quick figure drawings, like a 5-minute figure drawing and stuff, and they hope to get better at the figure, and that's all that they do. And I'm guilty of this too, or I was at one point. You're not gonna get better at drawing something if you only think that you're gonna spend a short amount of time on it. Like I try to tell people your long, like 2-3 hour figure drawing studies are gonna inform your 1 minute, 5-minute figure drawings. Because you're learning, you're absorbing information, you're trying to understand things. It takes longer, and that's gonna help you draw quicker. Drawing quicker doesn't necessarily help you learn how to draw quicker. Sometimes you need more knowledge that takes time to absorb. You can also practice, you know, drawing quicker to draw quicker, but you still need the knowledge there. If you are, you know, ignorant to the subject that you're studying, not in a mean way, you just don't know the information. Like, I don't know the anatomy of the arm that I'm drawing right now, so it's taking me a long time. Like, sure, I could have drawn it like 15 arms in the time it took me to do all these and be done with it and do it in a messy way that I normally do. Right? Boom, done. That was one hand. And that'll get me part of the way, and then I can come in here and fix the mistakes. But I'm not trying to do fast drawings. I'm trying to just understand what I'm seeing, understand the anatomy behind it, and trying to design it as well. So it's taking me extra time. Mm. We lost our music. How about this? Don't hear anything. Oh, there we go. Back to most digital artists spend 5 to 10 hours on a piece. 8 hours is my average. Yeah, I mean, I know for the super detailed like splash images and stuff can take way longer than that too. And some like production concept art and stuff, it really depends. But I'm sure you know that. Already work in the industry. Yeah. Doing timed painting challenges aren't itself bad. It becomes bad when it's presented as the expected goal of one's productivity. Yeah, I remember there was a time a while back where it was like a really big thing to do speed paintings. I feel like it's kind of, people don't do it as much anymore. They were really popular a little bit more back in the day. And it's not a bad thing to challenge yourself. Like Force said, just don't expect that to be like, the challenge is about what you can communicate, how you can simplify what you can communicate. That was the challenge of speed paintings, so that you're not spending time on the details. You're challenging yourself to simplify what you were seeing. The trick with those is really never, I shouldn't say never, is usually not about how fast you can do it. It's about other things that are part of that challenge. So for speed paints, it was how you could simplify that information. There was one time where I took a character design course, and I, for whatever reason, was just struggling with coming up with ideas, and my teacher told me to time myself for, I forget the amount of time. It was a short amount of time. It was like 10 minutes or something to come up with ideas to help push these characters even further. And it helped. It, for whatever reason, it unblocked whatever the heck was blocking me from doing that. And again, the point wasn't the speed to get it done faster. It was to help me constrain my brain into this area where it was like, okay, you only have this 10-minute period. What ideas do you have that you can put down? And it helped get rid of that mental block of just like sitting there, because I knew I had all the time in the world to come up with ideas. So again, it's very rarely about speed when you're trying to do speed painting or study stuff. Because you can take your time with most of what you need to do. Oops. Yeah, and monthly art challenges like Inktober or 24-hour comic day aren't meant to be the end goal of how fast you are. It's a challenge meant to teach you what your limits are. Yeah, that's a good example. The 24-hour comic day. You don't see people doing like super detailed comics. They're seeing how well they can do by simplifying their comic even more, right? Generally all the 24-hour comic things are more simplified than the style that they usually draw in, because it has to be. It's fast. So it's an interesting challenge, because you have to think about when I have less time, what can I do? It's not about like, oh, I have to work this fast always. It's about making time your friend. Manages to add in the power of Tomodachi. Yes, that is a nice way of putting it, Scribble Mouse. It is about making time your friend. You're trying to discover what you can do with limited amounts of time. Not in a way to hurt yourself, right? For time is not your enemy, necessarily. um, Time is your friend. You're trying to figure out what you can do with less of it. Once I understand the different muscle groups, I'll probably go back in here and like identify them, color them in or something. 24-hour comic day takes place first Saturday of November. Might not be in time. I might try that one soon. Yeah, I like 24-hour comic days. People make some really cool stuff. What's your opinion on using the boxman technique? Do you just mean making figures with a box, Jakio? This is all he has for arms, yeah. Alright, so we drew the front arm positions. And then we got one more flexed arm, although it's not flexed, it's still kind of relaxed, but just, well, actually, I think is he flexing it? The bicep is kind of in a flexed position. Do it with friends in real life. It's not fun to do all by yourself. Prep with food, water, and be kind to yourself. Yeah, that's a long time to be doing comics. So some people do variations of it where they do like, or was it they do like a little comic thing every hour or something. They're very tiny ones. You don't have time to sleep. Yeah, for a beginner or anyone for that matter. Boxmen are okay. It's usually something that you get taught in the beginning, because it helps you with perspective, right? So now when you draw a boxman, like, it's a little wide. You're gonna be able to understand a little bit more do they do? It's like usually 2 legs or something. I don't remember. Apologies, this is weird looking. Let me see. I know who does this. Oh my god. Krenz Kushart is a good reference if you're looking for boxed figure people. Because he draws things out that way. Here's a leg. Let's see that he's sort of boxed it in. See the simplified version over there. Trying to see if he's... I know I have a couple pieces of reference where he's drawn the whole figure as a box. It's very like visual communication, Viscom type work. He has basic shapes. Where are your box people, my guy? Ah, here we go. Here's a good example where he builds off of it. So yeah, I was drawing my guy way too thick. Can we take up the whole screen with this? No. Let's show. No. Okay, just gotta hide this. Nope, wrong one. This one. Yay! Okay. Let me see if there's another better piece of reference, though. Otherwise, probably have to do this one. I could have sworn he had a page of like all boxy stuff. Maybe I was wrong. Either way, he's a good reference because he does break down how the figure looks in a simplified fashion and how the muscles all interconnect. Here's kind of an example. I'll show those. Oh, here we go. I found one. I don't have many friends who are into drawing. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Yeah, it's hard. That's why a lot of our communities are online. Okay. I'm assuming you mean something like this, Jakio. In which case, you know, it's a little bit of a variation. You could draw the head as a square too. He just goes straight into the jawline, but you could totally draw the head like this and then just change it later. Oop. I did not mean for my eraser to be that big. But yeah, these are really helpful, especially as a beginner, because you don't really know what you're doing yet. Not gonna draw exactly what he's got here. And you can learn a little bit more about proportions and get more familiar with drawing the body. Ultimately, you want to move away from this, though. It's not, the goal is not to stay here. Because these shapes aren't really how it's totally, you're gonna have to do a lot of like changing things up to make it work. Like the deceptive thing when you see stuff like this, especially from an artist that's really good like Krenz is he has a lot of knowledge that you don't have, right? So when you come out and do your squares, they're gonna look like just regular old squares, right? And I'm trying to do that too, but you can see like how he on this one, on this it's kind of like a curved, rounded off square. Still have a little perspective in there, right? It's not entirely this, a square like that, which is probably what most beginner artists are going to draw, because he has more knowledge of the anatomy and everything. He's preparing it for like more of a finished look, and that is sort of what you want to aim towards. This is more like a teaching drawing where he's showing you, but in actuality, most beginner artists are going to try to draw like this because they don't have the anatomy knowledge, because he knows, you know, that the rib cage is coming around, so he's already like swooping things in for you, and that's obviously why it looks so good. Even the legs, like you're going to be drawing, when you draw out a leg for the first time, you probably draw this straight cone. They might tell you to taper the cone, right? And that already looks okay. I accidentally made an angle change, so you won't have any angle changes usually as a beginner, but you can see that he made an angle change, and that already looks like a better leg. And he even adds a little bit of like, even though he's working with cones, right? So the boxmen help for sure. They help you get a handle on this stuff. But once you learn anatomy or you start learning anatomy, you're going to start adjusting your boxes. Don't feel like you have to restrict yourself to this box. Like, you can adjust it to how you feel like you want to learn. The boxes are specifically designed because a lot of people, when they start to, I think like Vilpu's method, like they'll just do gesture with like a circle and then like this, and you draw your hands like that, and then like that, right? Like when you're super beginner, this is what you know. I draw a little glove. And this is what you start with, and it's not like you might have a little, like some people like to use circles for the shoulders and stuff, but again, you have to build off of that, so the circles are not really going to be helpful. And the reason why most teachers do not use circles like this is because they don't show direction. You have to, like, if you're going to draw a circle, you don't know which way this shoulder, like it's, if I'm drawing sorry, if I'm drawing this, you don't know that which way the shoulder is pointing, right? So we draw like when you actually draw this out as a shoulder, it's kind of like this. Oh Jesus, that's actually, well, that's more complicated, but say it looks like this. Like, as a circle, it's not really clear which direction it's going, but if you were to draw this as like a, I don't know, a box, draw it like that, or just more boxy, right? You understand that this is the front plane and the side plane. Same with this. You know, this is the front and the top and the side. But with a circle, you don't know what any direction is. It's confusing. So that's why we use boxes. But again, you can move on from here to here to what I now do, which is just straight I almost go back to the circle, but I also define it out as well. It's not completely a circle. So now I know that that's the front end, and the rib cage plugs in there and everything. I hope that helps, Jake. You. There's a lot of random random information. But hopefully it does answer your question as well. Yeah, my back hurts just looking at the post. Sorry. Just found out I need glasses. I don't have them yet, but I was curious, would it affect how you see and draw if you don't have them? Yeah, no, it doesn't. I have terrible vision. I don't know if you can see my glasses. You see how thick these are? It doesn't change anything. You can just see better. So don't worry about that. Yeah, no, Jakey, it's not gonna hurt you at all. Peanut draws. Are those sucks because they're old headphones and the sponge wore off? Absolutely base. I would do this 100%. Yeah, you're 100% right. Peanut draws. It's because my headphones are dying a slow death. Socks. I just got a hole in them so that the cord would fit in. But this is so, the debris of the headphone doesn't fall into my ears. And it still does on my head because it's like it can get caught in my hair. But I'd rather that than stuck in my ears. I can see the boxes help more because I tried the Loomis head method. It seemed hard to tell where the front or back of the head was. Yeah. Even if you draw like this, and you don't want to do like this because it doesn't really, there's a lot of obviously angle changes with the head. This is not. There we go. Oh god, that's a big eraser. Like you can tell the direction, but eventually you have to move on from this, right, to something like this. And the fastest way that you can understand perspective is when you move on to this and it's getting a little confusing, is just knowing, like what the Loomis method even talks about this, is knowing where those divisions are. And that way you immediately have what is it? Perspective, where the edges are, the perspective and everything. It's not confusing. Right? And this is just the brow area, that line. It actually sometimes helps you draw the back of the head, because you'll know based on this that something is wrong. Right? Same with finding the center line and everything. And you can see a little bit easier sometimes when you draw those center lines and those divisions how you've sort of screwed stuff up. So you get there eventually from here to here. It just takes time. I don't think I spent a lot of time using this square head shape. I tried my best to, like, even though it was wonky looking, look like that, but I tried my best to draw something like that. This is actually super messed up looking anyways, but it's something that works. Audio Cafe, don't forget that just because you start with one method doesn't mean you have to be beholden to it throughout the process. Oh yeah, that's a good point too. you're gonna learn. I mean, I would recommend learning from multiple sources so you can see how different artists simplify and tackle different issues. Like Kran's Kush art is going to draw things differently from another artist that you like. Um, and you'll pick up little tricks and stuff when you understand things. And sometimes, you know, one artist that you love is just not going to, it's just not going to click for you, whatever you're trying to learn. And then you find somebody else, and then all of a sudden the weird thing that they did, it clicks. Like you understand cheekbones now. You're like, damn, this whole time couldn't figure it out. Now I know. Right? So definitely study from more than one person, and don't think you have to force yourself into doing something one way, especially when you do different poses. Like, if you think you know the rib cage because all you do is draw it from the front, right? And you, once you start drawing this from different angles, like from the side and everything, like now you have different things that you have to worry about. Or if you're coming at it from below. Ooh, I actually don't know what that should look like. See, even I've got what would that look like? Actually, normally you wouldn't draw that. You draw like the something like that. Right? Looks a little wonky, but you know, it's there. So yeah, you have to understand there's not one solution for everything. So don't box yourself into something. Learn multiple methods and be Bruce Lee and use different methods when you need them where they be most effective. Want to stay with super late? Okay, bye, Peanut. Have a good night. Yeah, we're actually gonna stop here, guys. So I think we did pretty great with the arms. Oop. Pretty happy with them. Like I said, I'll probably go back over and color in those areas so I'm understanding more about the muscle group separation, so I can draw more arms and then start studying this from imagination, because I don't think I would be able to do that just yet. I might get some of it, but I definitely wouldn't get all of it. Thank you for streaming. Great arms. Thanks for thank you everybody for coming out. Quack and JQ4, Peanut, Audio Cafe, Scribble Mouse, Miyazaki. Hope you guys all have a good week. I'll be back tomorrow. Thursday is the first week. I think I'm gonna do like it's an art break stream. So we're gonna play a game of some kind. So if you have any recommendations, I think I might start something new just because I'm in the middle of Cyberpunk 2077. I don't know if that's really a great game to stream. I'd have to turn on like safe streaming. There's too many naked people. Where can I get references using for the arm? Andrew Loomis, John Walkus. I would start with Andrew Loomis. It's just easier. And then there's also another book that does a great. I was gonna look at it later actually. Figure drawing. Michael Hampton. He has a good simplification of muscle groups. So Michael Hampton, figure drawing, and Loomis. Me Too, fun game. Yeah, it was really fun. Bridgman's good too. You just have to be careful of Bridgman. I would say it's more for an intermediate artist because he drew everything really far away with like this charcoal stick. Um, and because of that, his drawings can be a little complex for beginners. So don't necessarily recommend it. He makes some really cool designs because of that. I feel like you should know a little bit about the arm before you jump in there. So the simplest is probably Michael Hampton. I would go with him first because he simplifies the muscle groups. All right, guys, I'm headed out. We'll catch you guys tomorrow.